If being in bed is predictably tied to sleep, you can program that association. But if being in bed isn't predictably tied to sleep, you don't know what to predict. So here's an example. If I say bed, sleep, bed, sleep, bed, sleep, bed, sleep, I say bed, you say
sleep.
Correct. If I say bed, sleep, bed, wake, bed, think, bed, wake, bed, sleep, bed, wake, bed, sleep, bed, think, bed,
surf,
maybe,
scroll.
You have no idea.
Right.
You have no idea what's coming next. You can't predict the pattern. Human brains love patterns. And if you can't control the sleep side of the equation yet, at least you can control the bed side of the equation. Stimulus control therapy, which is one of the core components of CBTI, was built around that. And since that time, CBTI has emerged as sort of this multi-component toolbox. Stimulus control is one of the core components, but there's all these tools that we have that are essentially, it says therapy. It's a lot less like psychotherapy. It's a lot more like physical therapy, where we're teaching your body to do a thing it physically can do. It just doesn't know how anymore, or it forgot, or you need to build it back up again. So you have everything is there inside of you. I mean, when a patient comes in and says, I'm having trouble sleeping, it's like saying, I'm having trouble breathing. When someone says I'm having trouble breathing, it's not just because like they suck at breathing and it's just a skill they never mastered, right? Like you were breathing when you were born. No one had to teach you. It's a part of how your body works. The trick is, why aren't you able to do this thing you were built to be able to do? What's in the way? What's preventing your body from working the way it's supposed to? And insomnia treatment is often like that. It's like, you can probably sleep just fine. You were built with this ability. There's a chance maybe there's something else, but most of the time you have everything in you need to sleep fine. Something is in the way. Let's get out of your own way and clear that path.
Let's say you had, someone that has to work on their stimulus control.
Yeah.
There's someone that likes to get into bed. They have trouble falling asleep. So they pull out their phone, they're scrolling, they're looking at, social media, whatever. And maybe they're ruminating.
Yeah.
Like, how would you approach that? Like, what would be like your 2-week fix?
Great. So first of all, in addition to stimulus control, in terms of the other tools within CBTI, a lot of them focus on this idea that you want to drive your natural sleep drive, put that sleep drive in bed, and when bed is not really going to be used for sleep, you get up. And so if you're going to be on your phone, the first thing I would say is try and separate the phone from the bed. Have the bed be the place where sleep is occurring, not where sleep is predictably not occurring, because it's not occurring when you're on your phone. See if you can do that. If for some reason you have to be in bed when you're on your phone, I would say the thing to do is you still want to create that separation. The best way to do that is maybe stand next to your bed, because like I say stand, it's silly and very rarely do people actually do it, but people sometimes do. And I do this because if you're standing, if being in that proximity is important for your ability to sort of wind down or whatever, but at least A, you're not in bed, but B, the standing does something very important. And especially people in the athletic space will know this, that you don't lose touch with your body's communication to you. When you're standing, there will eventually come a point where you say, but I really want to sit down now. That's your body telling you that you're ready. Or you may be standing thinking like, what am I standing here like an idiot for? I've been here for a half an hour. What am I doing? That's your other signal that you're not ready. Sleep is not something that you do. Sleep is something that happens to you when the situation allows for this. That's a concept I borrowed from a colleague of mine, Lindsay Shaw, who's also a fantastic sleep person and sports psychophysiologist. I learned this from her. I use it all the time. It captures it really well. Sometimes sleep is not under your ability to sleep isn't under your control. You're awake. Like you need to wind down. Maybe you're just not ready. And if you're just not ready, laying there in bed scrolling is going to help. Go do that somewhere else. If you are getting ready, respond to those body signals. If you can't stand next to your bed, if that's a little too silly for you, sit and sit up on your bed. Not like just a little propped up. Your head's not on a pillow. You're not under a blanket. Sit up. Again, you're not going to lose touch of your body's signals. And worst case scenario, at least you get the head bob. The head bob is your friend. The head bob means it's your body telling you you're ready. There's also like if you're watching TV or on the couch or whatever, and you're within that zone where you might be wanting to go to bed, lean forward when you're watching TV or your movie or whatever, or scrolling, because you'll get the head bob. You won't get it when you're leaning back. You get it leaning forward. That's your signal that you're ready.
And what happens if, someone wakes up in the middle of the night and then they're ruminating?
Yeah.
Can't fall asleep.
So again, sleep is not something you do. It's something that happens when the situation allows for it. And if the situation is not allowing for sleep in that moment, get up. If you're sitting there and you're eating and you have no appetite, you don't just sit there and stare at your food till you become hungry and it becomes more appetizing. It actually backfires. So often when people wake up in the middle of the night, it's because something naturally occurred to produce that awakening, whether most commonly would probably be some sort of physical discomfort like pain, or maybe you sunk into your mattress a little bit and it's just a little discomforting and you need to wake up and move. Sometimes it's untreated sleep apnea, super common. You have a respiratory event that you don't know you had. If you ever wake up suddenly for no reason and you don't know why and can't get back to sleep, we'll talk a little bit later about sleep apnea, but that can cause these awakenings. And when you have something that causes this awakening that arose from inside you, wasn't under your control. And what ends up happening is that physical activation escalates. And just like a snow globe, you shake up the snow globe, it takes a little bit of time for it to come back down. And when your snow globe got shaken up while you were asleep and you're awake, you can't make it fall back down faster. There's nothing you can do. You can poke at it, make it go slower, but you can't make it go faster. You just have to wait till everything settles back down. And it often doesn't take as long as people think. But what ends up happening is, as your snow globe is settling, then your stress starts rising again, slowly rising. Because why can't I sleep? What if I can't fall asleep? What if I'm up the rest of the night? Blah, 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 blah. And then you start stressing and freaking out about it. So now your body is ready, but your mind isn't anymore. And now you got to wait for that to come down. And you just prolonged it. Because you don't have control over this part, surrender that control. Recognize that you're going to get up. You can get up, take a break, wait till you're ready, try again. Just don't prolong it any more than is necessary. So sometimes surrendering control actually shortens the awakenings. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, what if you're up for the entire rest of the night and you just don't go back to sleep? That's often people's fear. But the truth is, A, that's unlikely. And B, even if it does happen, you'll be fine the next day. And guess what happens if you're halfway through your dinner and you just lose your appetite and you just don't eat the rest of it? What happens the next day? You don't die. You just are a little more hungry. And you'll eat a little more the next day and the system will correct itself. Overcorrecting is the problem.
So to kind of just, from my understanding, for the stimulus control, like the most important part of it, for these individuals that do have this fear of not sleeping,
right,
or it starts to, they just immediately get anxiety about it. The best thing is to surrender, or is that the strongest part of the stimulus control?
Yeah, it's the performance anxiety. The fear is what's creating the activation that's getting in your own way. So recognizing that it's not under your control, trying to control it is not going to help. Nobody got to sleep faster by trying harder. The enemy of sleep is effort. If you're engaging in effort, you're adding energy into the system. And athletes especially are vulnerable to this because, athletes are used to gaining control over their body and learning how to control their body in ways that most people just don't know how to because they haven't been trained to. So there's always a solvable problem there. Sometimes it's like injury recovery. Sometimes you can't make it go faster. Like if you injure yourself, you got to do what you got to do to recover. You can't, there's no dance you can do or book you can read that will make that recovery go faster. You got to give it the time it needs. Similarly, this is a process that's outside of your control. Trying to control it will actually make it go slower.